Welcome to the Agraios Inherent Quick and Easy Raid Boss Guide for the new Desert Inherent or Desert Perpetual, sorry, raid. This is, in my opinion, the most mechanically complex of the three first bosses, so be ready for that. But it is still definitely doable for any raid team, even new ones. So, it will take a while to explain, but I'll start here. We will need to split the team up into three groups. There's going to be a single ad clear, there's going to be two on blue team, and three on white team. That's what I called it, that's what my team called it. There's different ways to do this, but this is what we found the easiest, and once we did it, we were able to two-phase the boss. On normal mode, of course. The same information I'm giving here will work in contest, but there's like 12 hours left of contest. It's incredibly difficult. Some of the best players are struggling, so I wouldn't recommend it, but it's up to you. So I will start by explaining the ad clear role, because they by far have the easiest role. There's pretty much no mechanics for the ad clear, but you still have to be on ad clear. Like you can't just, there's no easy here. There is still a role to play as the ad clear. You see, there are 5 particle accelerators in the middle of this room surrounding the boss, right? Each particle accelerator has a corresponding station, spawn, there's a little gate back here, just like there's here. So, particle accelerator, station, spawn point, and a platform. Each of the 5 has a corresponding one. This third one is a little weird because the station is there, the spawn point is also there, and the platform is back here. That's just because it has to be split down the middle. But that is how the arena is built. The ad clear person, the single ad clear person, will stay in the back of this arena for the most of the encounter. Their role is to kill a Hydra. This Hydra spawns. It's kind of hard to say how often, but it will spawn in this area under this arch. When it spawns, you need to kill it fast. I highly recommend this third iteration new scout rifle. I know it's bugged and it will be patched at some point, but since it hasn't been yet, it probably will on Tuesday, I think, according to patch notes. Use it. It's incredible. It carried me through all of the raid encounters. It has, if you use the artifact mod, you have anti-barrier rounds, which means you can shoot through the Hydra shield, which makes it so much easier to take down. Anyway, that is most of the ad clear's role. That's pretty much all they do. I will come back to the part that they will need to take part in at the end, because it is random, as far as I know, who needs to extend the damage phase, so it could be that clear. But I will come back to that later. Now, for the white team. This is the most complicated role, so be prepared for that. The white team, named after the white buffs that they pick up on these plates. There are 3 plates. You can't see the last one because it's behind the boss. He's standing on it. They will pick up one buff. They're named similarly, but they are 3 different buffs. One is called something absolute, one is called something cyclical, one is called something, what's the last one? Construct? Constant, maybe? Something like that. We called it con, sic, and abs. So ABS, CON, and CYC. Those are the 3 buffs that you will get. I know, because I was on the ABS role, that the platform that the boss spawns on, that is the ABS buff. It will pop up at the bottom left of your screen when you get it. It should be pretty obvious. You always get the same buff from the same plate, so as long as you stay on the same plate, you should, like, you can predict what buff you're going to get. That buff corresponds, when you activate the boss, 3 clones are going to spawn on 3 of the 5 platforms. You can see the platform there, there, in this back area, and this front area, right? So, there's going to be Agraios, inherent of absolute, I think, and inherent of constant and cyclical. They are again going to be on 3 of these 5 plates. So at the start, you're not going to get the buff. You're just going to decide who gets which boss. So one of the white team gets ABS, so that person goes underneath the ABS platform. So you do not pick up the buff at the start of the encounter. At least we did not. You are able to, you can do it. We kind of experimented with it at the start of trying it, but we found a better way to do it later. The idea we came up with, which other people probably came up with too, but our idea was instead of getting it from the start, because there is a countdown, you have a minute and a half until you just die. You can extend it by going through a portal, but you can't go through a portal later in the encounter, so you only have one chance. We decided to pick up the buff only after killing the Hydra, or not the Hydra, the Wyvern. So after you fill up each portal, you kill the Wyvern. The second Hydra should be spawning at that point. Then you go in, decide which. I mean, you should decide this beforehand, but have decided what platform each player takes. You step on the platform at the same time, and each player gets the buff. Cool. There's going to be 2 empty platforms then, since there's 3 clones, and they're going to populate 3 of the 5 platforms. So that means that there are 2 empty ones. That is the blue team with 2 members. So you go under each of your boss, the blue team congregate to one of the 2 empty ones, right? So there's 1 blue member under each of the empty platforms. At the start, you're not going to get the buff. We'll get to that later. At the start of the encounter, after he splits into 3 clones, the Hydra will spawn. Now it's the app clear's responsibility to kill this Hydra. Everyone is always allowed to help, of course. The faster it goes down, the better. Every time a Hydra dies, a Minotaur, and I think also goblins along with it, or maybe just randomly, will spawn in the portals. The first one here on the right, on the left, and the back one has a portal. The other one just spawns kind of like out of a hole or just or out of thin air on this right side. At each person standing under a plate, so the 3 white members and the 2 blue members will pick up a crystal and run through their corresponding portal or particle accelerator. Kind of doesn't matter what you call it, just pick one. You don't have to run through your own, but it just makes it easier to keep track of which portal is yours, no? Okay, once you do that, when you connect all 5 portals, or turn them on, rather, wyverns will spawn under each of the bosses. Kill them. They're only really an obstacle. They're not like gating any of your progress. Just kill them because they will kill you quick. Now, you have to decide after the wyverns die. Okay, so they are kind of gating your progress. You do need to kill them to progress the next part. When you kill your wyvern, one of the white members, it's up to you to the white members to decide who have to activate or align rather their station. It doesn't matter who, you decide. So in our team, it was the person standing on this plate. I believe that's cyclical. It might be constant. I'm not sure. They will go up to their station after killing their wyvern and hold F for me. I'm on keyboard and mouse. Or hold square. Or X, I guess. And align their platform. That will activate the boss. So the boss on top of their platform, and only their platform, will start having a death laser. Kind of like the one from the Seraph stations on the moon. Those missions. If you stand in that beam for more than 10 seconds, you die. So don't do that. Pretty simple. Uh, like most of the platforms don't have the best view of the whole arena, so just find cover. There's a lot of cover, right? Secondly, the other 2, they don't align, right? So one of the white buffs align, the other 2 do not align. The other 2, they will look at these portals. So we just turned them on. Now, when you have the buff and you didn't align, you can look at the portal, and 2 of them will look out of place. We call them 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You can make your own numbering system, like close left, close right, far left, far right, middle. Up to you. 2 of them will look out of place. 3 of them are going to have these coils like sparking and glowing red. The other 2 will just look a little less so turned on, if that makes sense. They will look more dim. Okay, so you will call out if, for example, I'm one of the ones who didn't align on the white team. If I see these 2 are not sparking and stuff, I will say 4 and 5. That means that these 2 need to be activated again. The other person who didn't align will also have 2 portals, so 4 portals total that need to be activated again. Now it is the blue team's responsibility, after another Hydra is killed and another set of Minotaurs spawn, to run through the portals with another blue buff. So they pick up a crystal, run through the designated portals, and once the 4 portals have been activated twice, then we can start damage phase. There is another step to start damage phase, however. Once every portal is aligned and activated, though some of them need to be activated twice again, the person who aligned, so if it was cyclical, like it was in my team, they need to run a circuit or a gauntlet. So they run through every single particle accelerator in sequence. Once they're out of the 5th particle accelerator, you go to the middle. At this point, everyone should congregate to the middle and try and stay out of sight of the bosses. Pop a rift, pop a barricade with a Crest of Alpha Lupi. I don't know if it's bugged, but it does heal a lot right now, so it really helps your team to stay safe. Stay in this area. There is a cubby underneath this monolith, so that helps a lot with resetting the timer on the Seraph beam. Once the person gets out of the 5th particle accelerator, their grenade will be a containment bubble, like the ones from Bolt of Glass. To trigger damage, you need that death beam to shoot at the bubble, but it won't shoot at the runner who just did the circuit. So the other 5 people should go out together. Let's say the boss is on this first platform here, so they would step out into the light, and the beam will start targeting them. It will count down from 10. When it gets to around 3, you should count down from 5, so when you see 5, you say 5, 4. When it gets to around 3, the bubble person, so the person who ran the circuit, should press their grenade button. That will activate the bubble, and then when the beam shoots at the bubble, the boss will be ready for damage. It will take a little bit for the boss to go down and actually be ready to be damaged, but that is what triggers it. Once the boss comes down to be damaged, he will be vulnerable for a while. At some point, the portals will light up again, and at that point, a random person, as far as I know, it might be a determined person, but I'm not sure, will have to do the gauntlet also. In my experience, it was mostly people from the blue team, so not one of the people who actually got the white buff. They will need to run the gauntlet and redo the whole thing with the targeting. So people step into cover because the boss teleports to one of the platforms and starts doing the Seraph beam, the wipe attack. So people get into cover. You can still pop out and shoot because it is a 10-second timer, so you have plenty of time to shoot a couple linear shots. But once the runner finishes the circuit, they say, okay, step into the light. The whole team should step out together. When the countdown goes to 5, you count down 5, 4, 3. The person with the bubble presses the grenade button and pops the bubble. The attack, or the boss attacks the bubble, and the damage is extended. This is why the add clear roll should also be ready to run, since that might be random, I'm still not sure. This can be done 2 times, as far as I'm aware. I'm not entirely sure. Once you've done a full damage phase, the boss will disappear. You should also, by the way, once he pops up and does the damage attack, remember to shoot him. We're not sure if there's a threshold, you might need to do a certain amount of damage or you will be wiped. We're not entirely sure. That might just be a contest mode thing, but you should shoot them. That's a lot of time to do damage. Once you've done one full damage sequence, one of the bosses will disappear, and that will be the same boss as the person who aligned first. So if cyclical aligned first, there won't be a cyclical boss. So he will just be kind of on blue team, but still not on blue team. He'll just find an empty platform. Okay? So now, for example, ABS would have to align the portal. Now, cyclical and constant will see 2 portals missing and redo the whole sequence. You have 3 times to do this, and at the 3rd time, there's of course, since one boss disappears each time, at the last one, only constant would be left if cyclical and ABS did it first. So that would only be constant to do the boss or the alignment and run through. and that's the whole damage. The boss will enrage after the third one. After the second damage phase, it will say enrage is near, and then after the third one, you will wipe. So you only have 3 damage phases. The damage threshold or the DPS check isn't that bad. I mean, we were close to two-facing it. We kind of messed up our second damage phase, and that's why we needed 3. But it's definitely doable with like sloppy DPS to do a two-phase. So it's not bad for the DPS check. I recommend for this encounter to have a linear. You need a long range for when he pops away. Maybe not a burst linear because I felt that the burst kind of maybe only 2 of the 3 shots would connect. So maybe something like Cataclysmic. You could even use Whisper if you want. Third iteration is great for all the ads. There's Minotaurs with Void Shields, incredible for that, and also Anti-Barrier for the Hydras. I like the new Pulse Rifle. You can also use something like a Fusion Rifle or a sidearm, or a special sidearm rather. That's kind of an important detail. That is pretty much it. For supers, I recommend you should at least have 1 well for damage. Don't pop it on the first one because after you first are able to damage him, you're not in that much danger. The other 2 bosses, the clones, will shoot at you, but as long as you have like a healing rift or a rally barricade with a crest of Alpha you should be fine. But after the second one, ads might have piled up, the bosses will be peppering you. That's a good time to pop the well, and it should last most of the rest of the damage phase. So the important thing during damage is just to keep track of your hot or your health bar, because that's where the buff will pop up. C, always keep an eye on it to see if you have a buff. Also, maybe just call out every once in a while. Anyone have the buff? And then run the circuit, extend the damage phase. That is pretty much it. It's more mechanically dense than the Hydro boss, Epoptes, but it's very doable. The damage is easier to manage, and honestly, the biggest difficulty is the major mini bosses, like the Hydras that spawn, the Wyverns that spawn underneath the bosses, and also keeping like control of the Minotaurs, and also having enough crystals. They do despawn if they just sit untouched. That is pretty much it. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you get this raid done. It's a tough one, but it's a very doable one. I hope you enjoy.